Hey guys, this is John from Walton's and welcome to another weekly live stream. These are the live streams we do every week. We try to do them every Thursday. We try to do them every Thursday at 3 p.m. These are more directed and focused at meat processing. Our monthly live streams, which we try to do on like the first or second, somewhere around there, are more fun, giveaway driven. We generally don't do a giveaway on these, but I'm preempting myself. I'm not going to be available next Thursday, so we're going to give away some jerky and another item that I have fallen in love with, but I'm upgrading. So somebody here is going to win it. Don't get too excited. It's not amazing, but it is pretty good. What we're hoping to do today is get out a bunch of these stories about meat processing and the meat processing industry that are building up in my to-do list. Normally, we would cover those in Meat Matters on the normal podcast episode, but Patrick and I went down, well, a lot of people from Walton's were down at AMP this year. It was last weekend. It was in OKC. Beautiful hotel. The Omni down there, my God. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. Outside of some places I've stayed traveling outside of the country, the nicest hotel I've ever been to. It was gorgeous. Rooms were great. But one of the things we got to do there is we got to sit down with some people in the meat processing industry. We sat down with Oklahoma Panhandle State University, Anthony Ingo. He is I believe he's the director of that program. Something like that, either director or something along those lines. And we got to talk to him, and we got to talk to two of his students, Wyatt and Laura, who had submitted some product for the Cured Meat Championship. They have two different sections of it. One is for all the processors, the guys who do this for a living, and the second portion is for university students. He had two people put it in. I think he won second and fourth. So we got to talk to them. Really cool to see younger people coming up wanting to fill those guys' shoes, because the one thing I recognized, outside from a very few number of the plant managers, owners, they're all older. There's not a young generation of really artisan-style sausage makers out there. So seeing these kids going to school for it is an encouraging sight. I personally think there is a vastly increased interest in sausage making over the last 7 to 8 years. I mean, that's as long as I've been in the industry. So probably, correlation doesn't equal causation, but I'm sure I've had something to do with it. No. People are just paying more attention to where their meat comes from, how to make it themselves. Doing that allows them to use whatever protein they want, use whatever fat content they want. The customization is really why I think a lot of people are starting to get into it. And then you add in the fact that you're probably making something better than you're going to buy at a store, almost certainly better than you're going to buy at your local grocery store. Whether or not you can beat the type of people who are at AMP, probably not. But still, it was awesome. We got 3 really good podcasts out of it. We released one Wednesday. Then we're going to release one this upcoming Monday. And I believe that's the one that we talked to 2 of the guys, Danny Mendes from Tulare out in California, and Dennis from Den's Country Meats up in Table Rock, Nebraska. Those 2 guys cleaned up. They did great at the Cured Meat Championship Awards. So we got a chance to sit down with both of them together for about 20 minutes, and it was a really good conversation. Then we got a chance to talk to one of the younger plant owners, this guy, Dustin Strickland. He's down in Mississippi. It was really interesting to hear his story, his family's story. Good amount of stick-to-itiveness or stubbornness, I guess you would say, in keeping that plant going. But great conversations. Downside is, we have all these meat processing stories, and if we record a podcast and don't release it for 3 weeks, they're not topical anymore. And this is all super important information. You probably won't sleep well at night unless you've heard my opinion on them. And then I've got John behind the camera. John, say hi.
Hello, how's it going today?
Doing good. So John and I well, John was looking through some Meatgistics posts, and he sent me something saying, hey, do you think we could do this? And it was using cheese puffs as a replacement for a binder in some sort of sausage. I don't remember if they were talking about snack sticks or what, but the owner, Brett's wife, really liked some of the Nacho snack sticks I had made here recently. They're fairly mild taste. They have literally no heat, zero heat to them, but she loved them. So I thought, what better, thing to try to add cheese puffs to as a binder for those. We whipped up a batch of about 7 pounds of those. We didn't even measure how much we put in. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 3%, something like that. And then just processed as we normally would, but no binder. So the cheese puffs were the binder. As far as taste goes, in my opinion, absolute home run. I loved those. Thought as soon as you bit into them, you got like way cheesier of a flavor than you did with just the seasoning by itself. Now, I'm definitely someone who likes more like pumped up in your face types of flavors. Sandy preferred the ones without them, but taste was awesome. Increased the taste. Didn't do a great job as a binder. There was definitely some, John, what would you say, mushiness?
Yeah, it was pretty soft, and the more you added to it, the softer it seemed to get.
Yeah, so I guess mushy or soft. Soft is actually probably a better term for it. It didn't have the best palate appeal, but, we figured toy around with it for a while, see what we can come up with. So we've got some batches here we're going to talk about. Another huge thing for us is we just got the Walton's gloves coming in. These are nitrile gloves. We have them in everything from medium to XL. They're powder free. There's 100 per box, and they will shortly be available on waltonsinc.com. We have Rachel working on that right now. Hopefully we'll get them up there in the next little bit here. Daniel is saying no audio or video. Daniel, I'm sorry. Looks like everybody else is getting it correctly. I'm seeing a note from somebody to check a price on something on waltonsinc.com, and that makes me want to check right now. Because if somebody is calling that out, we might have a problem.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Have you ever, as far as snack sticks are concerned, have you ever had a taste like that Cheetos, the cheese puffs gave it?
How do you mean?
I mean, have you had anything similar to that? Is that a pretty unique flavor to you?
Oh, no. Yeah, that's definitely unique. Yeah, why is it doing that? Your price? More expensive than listed price. Sorry, I do have to fix this as we're going here. I'll try and keep talking. But with snack sticks, I don't generally add a ton of things. I made a batch of snack sticks once that we added pickled jalapenos that we had allowed to air dry for about an hour to try and get rid of some of that vinegar, some mustard seed, and I think a little bit of a black cracked pepper. But other than that, I mean, snack sticks have, most of the time, have enough flavor that they don't really need a ton of extra stuff. I was more interested from the binder standpoint. And I talked to some people here about why they don't think it worked as a binder. And the consensus seemed to be it's already so processed before it gets put into a cheese puff form. Then it's air fried or fried in some way. So it's not willing to act as a binder for anything else at that point. There's an error performing this operation. So it is all products. It will not let me switch on. Come on, please pull up. There we go. Got it. But yeah, so these just came in today. We've been waiting for those for forever. For people who don't know, we are absolutely still having a problem with gloves. For a long time when this first started out, we would not sell gloves to anybody who hadn't previously bought gloves from us. That was because we had people who are not our customers trying to swoop in, buy up all of our stocks on gloves, which for the home processor is not that big a deal if you can't get gloves, right? I mean, hands will get a little dirty, you're going to wash them, the product's going to be cooked anyways. So gloves are more a luxury than a necessity for home processor. For a business, they absolutely need those. They will get shut down if they don't have enough to keep going. So, we talked with our processors when that was first going on, tried to explain to them, hey, be as good with glove management as you possibly can, but those are who we sold our gloves to. For a while there, we kind of got out of that, but there is still absolutely a shortage of gloves. Brett, myself, and the head of our purchasing department sat down yesterday. I've already planned out mostly all of our Thanks Black Monday, which is our big holiday sale that starts just before Thanksgiving, usually that Monday, and goes through Cyber Monday. There are a set of escalating sales. The first section will start on that Monday and go all the way to Cyber Monday. The second one will start on Black Friday and go to Cyber Monday, and the last one is Cyber Monday only. Austin and I have usually done some sort of big live stream on that day, and I'm assuming that we will on this one as well, but I'm not sure about where he's going to be. I'm almost positive for the 13 days of Christmas. Yeah, he should be here for Thanks Black Monday, but for the 13 days of Christmas, it'll probably just be Patrick, John, and myself. So you have that to look forward to. Okay, let me look at chat. Then let's get into these news stories because I have something else that is absolutely amazing. This thing I'm going to show you is absolutely incredible. All right, so let me check chat. Is there anything? No audio or video. Bob Stellick saying that too. Chat doesn't seem to be in sync. Bob, where are you watching? YouTube isn't working, but the live page is. Yes, so try to go to waltonsinc.com/live. That's where I'm watching it right now, and it seems to be working fine. Also, if I go to meatgistics.com, at the very top, there are all those tags where it's like conversion chart, map, all of that. If you click on the live stream, that will take you to it as well. And that is where we'd like everyone to watch because that is also where you can enter to win the live streams from. One thing I try not to overly advertise these. That's a wrong word. I usually don't send out an email when we're about to go live with these live streams. With the big one, monthly one, I definitely do. But what I did is over the last couple of live streams, these smaller ones, I took everybody who had entered into the contest and I created a separate email list for just that. Thought it might be a good idea to start emailing like that reduced list of people who have watched and entered into the giveaway in the past. That way we're not emailing everybody, all the time. As a consumer, I don't like it when I get a ton of emails from a company. Obviously, around the holiday season, you kind of expect it, but we're in July here, so. All right, now I'm on live. So, Bob, let me know if you're good. So, K-Man, on waltonsinc.com/live, there's 5 ways to enter. There should be either over on the right or down below. If you're watching on a cell phone, look for your 3 dots button or wherever it is that gives you more options, and then click View as Desktop. That should open up those entry options. Now, what we're going to do is we'll draw a couple of winners for seasoning and jerky. So that is jerky that we've made. You're going to get some that John made. I taught John how to make it and let him loose. We needed to make a ton for some events coming up. So he's been hard at work in the test kitchen, getting enough jerky for hundreds, if not probably thousands of people. We're going to be sampling it out to over the next couple of weeks to a month. Actually, technically 2 months. Wichita has this really cool event called Zubilee. It starts probably like around 6 o'clock in the evening, and it's at the Sedgwick County Zoo. And they close everything down. You have to have a ticket, and they're fairly pricey to get into. And often sell out really quick, but it's awesome. You've got a ton of vendors. Everybody's serving samples. There's tons of alcohol options. It's absolutely a great time. And then the last time we went, which is the first time we actually brought samples and stuff, we had no idea it was a competition, but we won. Like, we won best vendor. And I think it was because we had just started with the tender jerky and we were so excited about it. So everybody who came up, we were like running them through how we did it, why we did it, what all of that's about. Patrick just sent me a message. I don't think that would work, Patrick. I don't think that would work. He's asking if there's a way to post that link directly. It wouldn't work. Yeah, so we part of it was friendliness, part of it was knowledge, and another part of it was what product you brought. And we were obviously super knowledgeable about it and really excited to talk to everyone about it. Okay, jerky's very good. To be able to chat, I have to log into YouTube, but then there's no audio or video. Huh. Yeah. I mean, you can log in your browser and then go over to waltonsinc.com/live. That will leave you logged in. Like, your browser should know you're still logged in to YouTube, but you're able to watch it on waltonsinc.com/live. Okay. If you're on Meatgistics Livestream, you need to scroll way down. Okay. All right. Here we go. We're going to get into some meat processing industry news. This first one's a bit of a longer story. I'll try and keep it quick because we will talk about it in greater depth other places. I got a chance to sit down Friday night and talk to a couple of processors, really knowledgeable guys who have been doing it for a really long time. One of them was Dan from Louisiana Craft Butchers. And he was talking a lot about boudin, but Dan is actually Jewish. And while I don't believe he keeps kosher, he was really knowledgeable about everything with kosher. So we got talking. I wanted to know what the reason was for having to preheat your grill at high heat for 45 minutes before it was considered kosher. He explained all that to me. But the big thing that I was interested in is tied in with this story. This is kosher lab grown pork from Israel's growing cultured meat sector. So one of the big things with kosher is the animal has to be split hoof and it has to chew its own cud. So I was really interested, and I'll post the links to the stories for anyone who wants to go through them in further depth and read them all. One of the things I was interested in is how is that going to square from a kosher perspective? I mean, this animal has no hoof, right? It's never chewed anything. This is a cultured grown meat. So he let me know that seems like there's a lot going on behind the industry or behind the scenes in the industry with religious leaders of the Jewish community and trying to figure out exactly what the decision is going to be on this. Are they going to allow it, or are they going to say, no, that's still not kosher? With as many people as keep kosher in Israel, and this being where it is, this lab is in Israel, I have to imagine that they've looked ahead, seen what type of decision is going to be made here, and planned accordingly. But it's one of those really interesting, fascinating, ethical, religious questions. I don't have an answer. I don't keep kosher, but I am becoming more and more interested in this topic. So we will visit it in greater detail in further posts. I don't know about a video, probably just a post. But real quick, kosher is all about rules. It isn't necessarily a cooking method. Just for the meat portion of it, it must be a split-hooved animal, and it must chew its cud. So cows, sheep, and goats are fine. But pigs, while they're split hoof, don't chew their own cud. So they are not considered eligible. It also has a lot to do with the method of slaughter. One of the things that Dan was telling me, he believes that kosher slaughter is more humane than a hit gun. They have these guns, quote unquote, that stun the animal. So it's a stunner, and they do that, and the animal is not aware, it's not feeling anything when they start exsanguinating it and killing the animal, slaughtering the animal. He is very confident of the fact that his way is just as good, if not better. It has a lot to do with you have to have 2 puncture points, so it has to go like straight through the neck, and it has to hit the sciatic artery. I think he said sciatic artery that comes down one of the sides of your neck. It was a really fascinating conversation. We very much hope to get him on the podcast remotely in a future episode. Tied to that, from Veg News, which obviously, is a huge source of information for me. I'm always on Veg News. Nestle is going to invest, I swear, I read in another article, I read $500 million into this lab-grown meat process. That and the confidence with which some people were talking about it down at AMP really leads me to believe that this is coming. Eventually, lab-grown meat is going to be widely available in supermarkets, at butcher shops. Now, I don't think it's ever going to fully replace pork or beef, but for premium cuts, it might become much more popular. Now, what would that mean for us? A lot of what we do is associated with sausage. If all you have are premium cuts, sausage was created because people were looking for a way to use as much of the animal as possible. Cuts that might not be quite so sought after, like the trim. You had a lot of like jowl meat. That's what they used to make sausage. If you're just growing all premium cuts, what's the point of that? Now, I think sausage is popular, sought after enough now that there's no way there will always be some way to get those cuts. It's a weird problem or issue that is down the road, and it's something people are going to have to figure out. All right. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to click this link, but Tyson Food just invested $500 million in automation for their plants. That's $500 million in just automation for food processing plants. I'm willing to bet that what happened with COVID, with difficulties of getting workers in and socially distance, had something to do with that. My personal thoughts on this, I'm barely a step away from being a Luddite. Technology kind of freaks me out. Oh, sorry. For Office fans, I have something in front of me that bounces all around and just almost hit the corner perfectly. Sorry. So what are we doing there? $500 million in plant automation. That's a lot of jobs. And those jobs are actually decent paying jobs that we're going to go ahead and get rid of. Now, the reasonable side of me says, well, they'll get jobs either maintaining that equipment or with all of that found time, free time, other jobs, other industries are going to be created. But it's something that definitely, at least I think about, in general, trying to get as far away from something that automation could easily replace you in is, almost always has been a good idea. But especially now. at some point they'll have some AI thing that will do my job too. Interesting article. I'm not seeing the same things, but from Meeting Place, they're saying meat prices are starting to cool. So they're starting to drop down. They said the beef cutout value is down 14.1 in recent weeks from a high of $338 to $290 in just 4 weeks. So ribeye has fallen 37% in 3 weeks. Everything still seems real expensive at my grocery store. So I don't know if that's just further up the food supply chain and we're going to see it later. But I'm not seeing that. Beef at our local places is still really expensive. So hopefully that is something that's going to filter down to us shortly. And kind of an interesting thing that I don't know if a lot of people understand. The cutout value is the estimated value of a beef carcass from the represented grade for a given day based on pricing being paid for boxed cuts. Now, boxed beef is a lot of our customers use boxed beef. Some do slaughter and some don't do any slaughter. They just bring in boxed beef. So they'll buy it from somebody like Cargill and they'll ship them literally a big crate full of whatever cut they want. And then they use that to make their finished product. There are some places that slaughter but still do boxed beef to either supplement or looking for more of a specific cut. Just one of those, how does your meat get to the grocery store? One of those kind of weird things that I don't think a lot of people think about. I know I certainly didn't before I was in this position. I was like, yeah, no, the grocery store has it. I don't know, they probably kill it out and back, but that couldn't be further from the truth, obviously. Real quick, African swine fever is going through China like terrible. They're killing large portions of the herd before, they can't even do anything with it. But the last thing I read said like 22% of their hogs are just gone, dead. They try to kill it as soon as they start seeing signs from it, but it spreads like wildfire. The USDA is doing everything in its power to prevent this from coming to the U.S. So far, we've been lucky. We've been clean. They're obviously being really, really careful with all that. Where is that? 2 weeks ago, we had articles everywhere saying how they had it under control. Everything was fine. There was no more issues. And now every 10th article I look at is about African swine fever in China. We import some from China, Americans. We bring in some pig from China, but it's not a huge amount. I don't know if that's ever going to get to the point where it affects our prices. If anything, it would raise them because we'll be producing more to send over there. I assume that would raise them. I'm not an economist. But what I just posted is an article from the USDA. It's the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service. It's specifically about African swine fever and what they're doing to try to prevent that from making its way over here. All right. This is a bit of, I'm not even going to cover it. I'll post something about it on Meatgistics eventually. Where is that? There we go. And this definitely doesn't have anything to do with meat processing, but the oldest ever shark attack victim was discovered. They're dating it back 3,000 years. How they're determining that this person was killed by a shark, I don't know. But I'm fascinated and obsessed with sharks, so I thought I'd share that. All right. Let's get on to the nacho flavored snack sticks with the cheese puffs. John, do you remember who it was on Meatgistics who asked this question?
Yes, it was Sam Spade.
Sam Spade. Okay, so Sam, that thanks for the idea. Like I said, we did one where we added, I would say somewhere in the range of 3 to 5%. We didn't measure anything out. We were just like, we were going to add enough until it felt sticky enough because we were more focused on it being a binder at that point. But once we tasted it, we're like, no, we got to do something with this. All right. So, John, is it over to my left? Is the 1, 2, and 4? Closest to me.
Closest to you should be 4.
Should be 4. All right. Let's start at 1%. All right, so from a taste aspect, that is definitely more of a cheese flavor than you get with the nacho cheese. Do you agree with that, John? Yes. Okay. So we've got a nice added flavor, and the texture is fine. It's not perfect. It's not as kind of crisp as I would normally like it. There's definitely no snap to that. But from a flavor aspect, definitely increased flavor, and not a bad texture. All right, so this is the 2%, right?
Yes. 0.5.
Yeah, noticeable uptick in the cheese flavor of that for sure. And I'd actually argue, it might have been just the piece, I'd argue that that is an increased quality of texture on that.
That's the one where I could taste the distinct taste of the cheese curls.
Okay.
Specifically, I think in the 4, maybe it all overwhelmed with the other cheese. I don't know.
Okay, well, let's try the 4. Cheese flavor not off the scale, but really nice cheese flavor in that. We obviously also added some high temp cheese, but you're getting way more from that than you would from a handful of cheese. Those Cheetos have something, or not Cheetos, sorry, cheese puffs have something artificial in them that's just making them pop. But the texture is not good.
Yeah, that one was really, I thought, way too soft, and I liked the taste of it the best, but I couldn't tell if I was tasting the cheese that we put in it, the high temp cheese, or the cheese. Like, I didn't get the distinct taste of the cheese puffs, the Cheeto flavor.
Yeah, I would agree. Everything kind of gets lost together in that. So the 2.5 was definitely the one that I would recommend. Now, we're not done on those. We used cheese puffs as a binder. We're going to make a batch that has Sure-Gel and the cheese puffs. So the cheese puffs are going to be there solely for taste boost. So we'll see how that goes. We'll try to get that in the next couple of weeks, but I'm gone most of next week, as is Patrick. I come back next Thursday, and then in a couple of weeks we have our steak cook-off association. It's this huge event we're doing here at Walton's. If you're anywhere in the area, I'd highly recommend you come down. It's August 14th. We're going to have DJs. We're going to have 75 teams all competing for $10,000 in prizes. All of the ticket proceeds go to Air Capital Flyers. They're a Wichita Special Olympics group. And those guys will be there. The athletes will be there from Air Capital Flyers helping out. So you can meet them. Really nice guys. And we're going to have a mobile drink bar. I'm trying to get that guy. We've talked for a long time. Get him on the episode, or get him on a podcast episode. We're going to do pairing, like how to pair what type of sausage with what type of drink, and do like a flight of whiskeys. So like this is a cheap whiskey. This is more expensive. So hopefully we can do that. I'd like to do it before then, but we'll see. Okay. Talked about gloves. Talked about snack sticks. Talked about meat processing news. For anyone who hasn't noticed it, I have a new toy. Is it in the shot? Can they see it? Yes.
Yeah, it's up there.
anyone who's been paying close attention to our background might have noticed this. I have a new favorite hand-to-hand combat specialist knife. This is the Dalstrong Gladiator Series Obliterator. And I love it so much. It comes with this gorgeous wood stand for it. Great marketing on this, great look to it. I mean, it looks super. It's like a combination of high tech and just like raw, savage hunk of sharp steel. It's got an incredibly wide blade. I mean, I don't know what I would have to hit to roll this blade. I imagine anything short of steel, it is going just to do an amazing job. It is very heavy. I'm going to weigh it for you guys real quick. Hold on. All right. And this is our Scali precision scale, so it's definitely going to be accurate. Do it in pounds. It is 3 pounds and 1.1 ounce. For a knife, that's insane. For comparison, here's my rose-handled 8-inch chef's knife that I had them print Jonathan on. And that's 6.4 ounces. So 3 pounds, 3 pounds, 1 ounce, 6.4 ounces. That should give you an understanding of how heavy this knife is. I don't even know how much you're going to have to actually like try to chop it. I think that's going to do most of the chopping just with the weight.
That's almost like a hatchet.
Very much so. If somebody were to come into my house in the middle of the night, I don't know that my first move is to my drawer anymore. I might just have to leave this in a sheath right on the side and grab that, because you run out of your room waving that thing around. No one's sticking around. Nobody's wanting anything to do with you there. Real quick, let me draw a winner of some seasoning and some jerky. And since we're already talking about knives, I'll show you what I'm planning on giving away. Now, this is used, but this thing is awesome. I fell in love with this. This is the Smith's Diamond Trihone Sharpening System. It has a coarse diamond, a fine diamond, and an Arkansas sandstone, which is incredibly smooth. I've been using these to sharpen every knife I can get my hands on. It is a super satisfying feeling taking a dull knife and getting it to sharp. That's why I love the Trihone. But this one is right here. I don't have to go find the Trihone. And two, there's something extra soothing about the motion, the sound, all of it. But I'm upgrading to a larger one of these. So we will draw a winner for that. One of you guys is going to get to take that home. All right.
Would that work on sharpening that meat cleaver?
So a meat cleaver is such a different angle. You could do it. Yeah, you could definitely do it. It's gonna be pretty hard. You'd have to get a pretty extreme angle at it. And with how heavy that is, I think it'd be hard enough to the point where it's not even worth attempting.
Hey, you could just turn your security system off, just get a video of you sharpening your meat cleaver.
And just play it?
Yeah, just play it.
Come on in. Water's fine. All right, we got Lindsay Langerman. Lindsay, you won a jerky and some seasoning of your choice. So the way that works, we'll email you tomorrow. We will get your seasoning choice, and we'll get some jerky and that out in the mail to you. The jerky that we're sending is completely shelf stable, so it'll be fine. We vacuum pack it and send it, so it'll be perfectly edible when it's there. Might want to add the cleaver to the knives for July drawing. No. This is my knife. This isn't a Walton's knife. This is a John knife. Now, we don't sell a cleaver, but currently Dow Strong, which is this company, doesn't do like a resale type of thing like how we would do it. But that could possibly change in 2022. And if it does, I will strongly be pushing that we carry their knives because they're all awesome looking. Everything I read on them, they seem to be really high quality. Honestly, just this, and oddly enough, the boxes that it came in, because there were multiple boxes, shows a really nice attention to detail, understanding of the market. So, yeah, just absolutely awesome. Very happy with that. Exactly. We don't sell a cleaver yet. We will. And to talk about that a little more, I've got some meat. All right, so I've got just a regular beef roast here, and then a couple of different ribs, just some spare backs, and we're going to do a couple of different things with it. Now, this is not necessarily a knife for cutting through large bones. It will do it. We are going to cut through one of these back ribs here. It's an awesome knife, but it's not going to be razor sharp like it would be with a boning knife, and that's by design. That's not a bug. That's a feature. The reason for that is the sharper your knife gets, the thinner this leading edge has to be, which is great. That helps, slice through paper is one thing I always love to do. Cut vegetables really small. But that's not this knife's job. This knife's job is blunt force trauma. It wants to get through the bone, the cartilage, just the cut of meat with as little damage to the blade as possible. So it's a much thicker leading edge. If you run the back of your fingernail lightly up and down a blade, you'll feel if there's any nicks on it whatsoever. And there's nothing on this. It is a perfectly smooth, nice edge. And it's an awesome looking knife. I mean, this is probably going to stay here, but don't think that when we have people over at my house that I won't be bringing that home for the weekend to display somewhere, because it is awesome. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is hunk of beef. Now, as you can see, that is fairly thick. And we've got probably about 3 or 4 inches of beef there. It's got a nice fat cap. The rest is just clean, lean protein. And, oh, that is satisfying. That was super satisfying. Hopefully that noise wasn't that bad for you. So obviously, not a problem cutting through some regular beef. Let's see how it does at just slicing. And that did a phenomenal job as well. I'm going to be happy with this knife. All right. We'll go through the thickest area of it. And so that we don't waste any of this, I have some new possible carry seasons from Excalibur that we're going to try it on. We're going to marinate them and just let them sit tonight. And then we're going to throw them on the barbecue tomorrow and see what we like, what we don't like. Okay, so 2. Now, I'm going to try one with literally no extra pressure from me. I'm just going to let the knife's weight do it. So with no extra pressure from me, we are through 90-something% of that. That's just the weight of the blade. I'm going to have to go out and buy some chickens this weekend, like whole chickens, so that I can break them down with this. Because going through chicken bone or that cartilage around there, this will not even have a slight problem with it. Okay. Let's make sure you don't lose a finger, John. Don't lose a finger. God, I love this. This thing's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Okay. Time for a little bit tougher of a test here. First, let's just use it to slice through. Oop, there's something. Okay, so we've got some cartilage up here. I didn't come at a perfect angle. Let's just... That is great. That is absolutely great. All right, let's try it again. And yeah, I just pushed down a little bit harder. It went right through those. All right, let's pick a section of it. Generally, I don't love the end of ribs for whatever reason. I tend to like them better from the center and the thinner side. When we get down here and it's really just all bones and cartilage, for whatever reason, I just don't prefer those as much. I have no idea if that's normal, if it's another weird thing about me. Let's just cut. Ooh, we're trying to cut through cartilage to begin with, so let's come through the other end. And that's cutting right through that with literally no problems whatsoever. All right, so try and clear some of this. Now, if, just my initial thoughts, if you want to hear, not a negative about it, but it is really heavy. If you're doing a ton of work with this, if you're not jacked like I am, you might have some problems with it. I obviously am perfect. No, I'm just kidding. It is fairly heavy. Now, that's not going to be a problem because most of the times you're either putting it down in between or you're just not doing that much. It also has this really nice little thumb handle back here so that if you have to really get on it, you're still going to keep good control of it. I have no idea what these do other than look awesome. Maybe remove some weight or balance it out a little bit better, but I mean, it just looks great. This leading edge is not sharp at all. Looking from the pictures, I really thought it was going to be, and I thought this would be sharp as well. I couldn't figure out why other than stabbing motions. Like, that would make the most sense to me. All right, so we've got a bone here. That's not even, I didn't even have to swing anywhere near as hard as that. All right, we're going to try one with just the weight of the blade. Okay, so not all the way through on that, so you do have to put some pressure behind it, but let's see what happens if we just want to press down on it. Ooh, we won't do that again. That was a one-time thing. All right, let's try cutting through that again. Yeah, I don't think we're going to find anything in the regular retail market that this is not going to be able to handle. I'm going to get the bigger ribs now. Now, those are some good-sized ribs. We set this up earlier to have the camera, the second camera. What are we on here? All right, well, let's try it right here. We're running into some bone. I think that feels like bone running across the edge of the rib. So I'm going to try separating this with the Gladiator Obliterator. You can see right there. That's a decent sized bone that thing chopped through like it was absolutely nothing. I've got a really thick bone here up at the top. I mean, that is super thick. Somewhat selfishly, I really don't want to try cutting through that with this on the first day I have it. Oh, John Belvedere says that that's a bottle opener. I don't know if that's what it is, but that's a really good idea. Let me know. Should I cut through this or not? In the meantime, I'm going to continue trimming these up into smaller sections because we're going to try about, okay, there it is again. Oh, I love it. We're going to try a couple different rubs. Excalibur has a few different seasonings. One of them is Loaded Liberty. We're actually getting it as a sausage seasoning, but they apparently also have it as a rub. We loved the ingredients in it, so we're going to try that as a rub, and if we like it, we'll carry that as well. All right, J. Michael Kaminsky, I will do what you say. You're the reason I have this, so let's try it out. Is there something, it's not a caveat, my only hesitancy about doing this is it makes a really loud noise, and there are other people in the office. So let me just look around quickly and see if there's anything I can put underneath this board to sort of deaden that sound a little. I'm not really seeing anything. John, do you see anything? Anything I could do?
No, I'm not seeing.
All right, well, here we go. Sorry, guys. Actually, I am going to do something first. I'm going to remove some of these other items from it just in case something happens. John, talk to them for a few.
So I don't know about everybody else, but I'm a little bit scared to be in the same room with John and his new new toy.
Everybody should be.
He seems like he has a pretty level head, but when he opened the box and his eyes lit up, I got a little bit of anxiety.
Well, that shows you're a fairly smart individual then. Me and sharp, big things don't necessarily go. John, is this still squared up enough on that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Just going to go right through it. Right through. Let's try not to get caught on that bone, too. So if we come through, we'll just go right there. I mean, that's not a joke bone. That is a really good size bone, and that thing made mincemeat of it. Wow. All right, so obviously, ringing endorsement from me on that. Thank you very much, J. Michael Kaminsky, for helping me get in touch with Dow Strong. Hopefully, this is a product that we will be able to carry and sell in the future because, I love it. That thing's incredible. All right, I'm going to wash my hands, get the laptop back, and we'll draw some more winners.
I noticed there's one or two of you that said that you never got an email for your beef jerky. If you send me the email to podcast@waltonsinc.com, I should be able to email it out.
Are they people who said they had won previously? Or
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. We'll take a look into that. I used to do it all, and I probably have like portions of it that I didn't tell John exactly. Like I tend to half explain things sometimes, just assuming everybody knows what I know, because it seems I've been doing it for forever. But we'll get that looked at. We're absolutely not interested in not sharing this jerky. We 100% want people to try this because we love it. All right. It's going to be interesting to start having blue gloves in all of our videos instead of orange because our new Walton's gloves are blue, and those are obviously what I'll be wearing. Whew. The pure joy of getting to cut large hunks of meat like that.
The Obliterator would be an accurately named product.
Absolutely accurately named. That was a champ. I loved that. Okay, let's draw some winners. Lindsay won the jerky and the seasoning. We're going to draw another winner for some jerky and some seasoning. And then we'll draw a winner for the 6-inch Smith's diamond sharpening or honing system. If whoever wins that would rather have jerky and seasoning, we can obviously do that too. All right, Butch Green. Butch, let's see. Let us know you're here, bud. If I can ever copy this. Where am I? There we go. So, Paul, I have recently become really cognizant of the amount of gloves we're wearing. So, unless it's something that absolutely needs it, I tend not to wear not to wear them anymore. I do often wear them in videos where if I was doing it by myself, I might not, just to give that extra level of like pay attention to the cleanliness of everything. But in general, when you don't need to wear gloves, unless you were talking about a cut glove, I definitely should have been wearing a cut glove there. We have these Hex Armor Nxt Gloves. They're cut resistant the entire way, but these 3 leading fingers have this extra protection. It's a pattern of thicker material, and so it's not a solid pattern, so they're perfectly able to use all your fingers easily, but you can't poke through it. I've done it a bunch of times, take a knife and stab at it, you can't get through it. Now, that would still break a finger, I'm sure, but I'm 100% going to try putting a carrot or something in there and trying to break through it with the dowel strong and see what happens, see if this glove survives. But I'm definitely doing that. Yeah, Tex says, see if it'll cut. Yeah, we were thinking the exact same thing. I probably need to talk to some people before I do that. Okay, yep, Butch is here. Let's grab, and this winner will get their choice between jerky and the Smith's Diamond Trihone. Not quite a Trihone, Trihone, but I do love that thing. It's done an absolutely great job on everything I've used it on so far. And one of the things I really like, and you can definitely do this on the Trihone as well, it has not taken over from Trihone. Trihone's still my favorite way to sharpen a knife. But you can, on the go, change the angle of your blade. If you're doing a boning knife that's super flex and you want to make it, around 11 degrees instead of 13 or 16, you can do that just by slightly adjusting the angle of your wrist. I don't have the steadiest hands in the world, wouldn't have been a good surgeon, but I can do that without a problem. So, winner is Larry Drummond. Larry has done pretty well with us recently. So Larry, let us know if you'd rather have some jerky and seasoning or the Smith's Diamond Trihone. Nope, sorry, but you won jerky and seasoning. Unless Larry doesn't want that, then you can have that. Ooh.
Now, this may be off the wall.
Go ahead.
Do you think that obliterator, I can't talk today, sorry. Obliterator would cut through like soft wood, 2x4 maybe?
I mean, it depends on how soft the wood is. Probably not, just because wood is so, I don't know. Like a super soft wood, it might. It might. I really don't want to damage the blade like that, though.
I didn't figure you. I just was kind of thinking of like maybe karate scenarios where you.
No, that should be the knife in all future horror movies.
Yes.
Like, there's no reason for a long, Michael Myers knife anymore. That somebody in Hollywood should be working on that right now. Some script where chasing around people with the Gladiator Obliterator. It's insane.
I'm going to create a 2021 for the Netflix series and put you as the main.
No. No, I'd be terrible at that. Okay. Let Austin test the cleaver on you with the glove on. No, that's a terrible idea. If you go to the Meatgistics post about the live stream stuff, somebody posted the meme where it's from Anchorman 2, and what's his name? The guy from Shawshank Redemption. The main character. What's his name? The actor?
Oh, it's
That-
on the tip of my tongue.
That guy cuts off Owen Wilson's brother. I can't remember anybody's name right now. Cuts off his arm with a meat cleaver. So that made me laugh, and that's what Austin would do to me. So, all right. That's 4:00. So unless you guys have anything really specific, let us know. Show your true loyalty to Walton's. No. I mean, I think they know I'm loyal to them. Tim Robbins. Patrick chimed in. Tim Robbins. Thank you, Patrick. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Oh, which will not be this upcoming Thursday, by the way. Sorry. Have you hit end yet? Okay. So normally we would have one on the 29th. I'm not going to be here for that, so we will skip the 29th. We will then have our next live stream, which will be the monthly live stream on... They're always on Mondays recently. Monday the 2nd. That'll be at 3 p.m., same place. That's where we'll draw a winner for the current month's giveaway. That is the great knife package we put together. We'll also announce the sales and giveaway for August. We have something a little bit different, I think. I know you guys will like. It's pretty awesome, and it's not something we've really done in the past. So